What up, guys? Thursday night football showdown, fantasy football counselor here, Joseph Robert, going to be diving in for 10 minutes or so in regards to this matchup and bring on the ambassadors, guys, for your teams to battle it out based on last week. Now, a lot of people are talking about Josh Jacobs and Carolina from last week because we had our ambassadors come on. They're ripping into each other. So we brought Big Cat and him, where they're going to be on in a few minutes. We're going to have them on in a bit. I'm going to show you guys a split screen here of everybody, or a screen here. So we got Bosarowski, Raiders, Dosa Dion, Big Cat, everybody in the ranks here in the wings waiting to get started and get going here. But we got to start off with our matchup tonight, guys. And we are talking about the Bengals and the Browns. So our Bengals guy, we don't have a Bengals guy yet that's here. So we've got Browns and Bengals ambassadors here to cover for those teams. And we're going to bring on Zach and we're going to bring on Broshmo to talk a little bit about what's going on. Actually, JT is here. He just came in the house right now. So JT is going to handle the Bengals. Zach is going to handle the Browns. And he's going to join us in one moment. All right, so let's get to it, guys. I'm going to put on the split screen speaker view. So let's start off here with Zach covering the Browns. Browns, what's going on here, Zach? We got a big matchup tonight. And JT is going to come on in a moment to talk about the Bengals. Who's going to win this one? How is it going to play out? And are you guys even excited? I'm not really excited.
I'm excited for this game. I think Baker is going to have a good game. He had a horrible game last week. Pretty much the Browns absolutely sucked last week. There's a few injuries there for the Bengals line, so that's going to be for their defensive line. So it's going to be good for, I know you don't want to hear it, but it's going to be good for Nick Chubb this week.
Yeah.
Going to have lots of room in the middle with Atkins being out.
I heard the game script favors Nick Chubb. I'm going for Kareem Hunt to beat him again in PPR fantasy points. Do you see that, or is Nick Chubb going to get the ball more this time?
In PPR, it'll probably be close. I think Chubb's going to have more of a workload than he did against the Ravens because they were behind against the Ravens more. I think if the Browns can get out to a lead, it will be Chubb's game. But if the Bengals do really well and the Bengals end up with the lead, Hunt's going to be in the game more because he's a better receiving back, gives him a better chance to win there.
All right, where's JT Sports? JT, what do you think about this? Who's going to win this game? I know you're the Bengals ambassador. What do you think? I thought he's in the house.
Show up. He knows the Bengals are going to lose tonight.
All right, there you go. I see him. Here he is.
I'm gonna take the Bengals to win this one. Like, everybody knows, like, I'm a diehard Steelers fan, but I gotta take the Bengals to win this one because the Browns are kind of out of sorts. Like, they're trying to figure things out. Like, we heard rumors about Odell maybe getting traded, him and Baker Mayfield not really connecting. And a lot of people got to remember this. They're learning a new offense. And like Tom Brady with Tampa, anytime you have a new head coach bringing in a new system, or you have a new player, especially at the quarterback position, trying to learn a new system, it takes a while to kind of get things and kind of get the chemistry, kind of learning the playbook and things like that. And, Cleveland's still trying to figure things out. In Cincinnati, based on what happened last week against the Chargers, they look like they're more further along offensively and learn the playbook than Cleveland. So I got to take Cincinnati to win this one.
I don't know. I'm not excited about this game. I mean, I'm just not excited, but I mean, there's a lot of people's careers on the line here. We've got Odell Beckham Jr., we got Baker Mayfield, we got the coaching staff of the Browns. Someone's got to do something now. Burrow's got to make a statement. AJ Green, there's a lot of make or break. Do you guys agree? JT, do you agree that a lot of people really got to make it this week?
I kind of disagree with that. Like, pretty much that's more on the Browns side of things. Like, AJ Green had like a really good game last week against the Chargers. He pretty much caught the game-winning touchdown, but ended up getting called back for offensive pass interference. So he pretty much is on Joe Burrow's go-to guy right now. And I mean, for Joe Burrow, I mean, like, this dude is only like 2 weeks into his NFL career. Baker Mayfield, on the other hand, basically has his career in jeopardy because he already got called out this past week by Kevin Stefanski for his poor performance. So, I mean, Case Keenum and Kevin Stefanski have some familiarity with each other because I don't know if you guys remember, but they were both there in Minnesota that year. So, I mean, if Baker Mayfield has another poor performance, we could see Case Keenum perform in this game.
Yeah, man. What do you think about that? He's basically bashing your team there, Zach.
So I think that between the next two games, because they play Washington next week, I think it's going to be Baker needs to perform. I think if Baker doesn't perform, I don't see them making a change until at least week 6. But I think Baker is going to perform this week. and he's going to show everyone that. Obviously, it's a new system and everything. Odell kind of actually looked horrible. Many drop passes last week, and he was open and he just dropped them. Not quite sure why. I started him in fantasy too. Got him in the 6th round, and just nothing.
I could tell you, overrated is what it is, to be honest with you. So
I don't think the Bengals are the place. I don't think the Browns are the place he's going to succeed. I think he's going to get traded, and I think he will find success somewhere else.
Look, let me just be honest, right? I am not a Bengals fan, but I'm gonna just call people out on their bullshit about the Cincinnati Bengals. A lot of people keep sleeping on the fucking Bengals because Joe Burrow is the quarterback. Let me tell you something.
Here we go.
Last week, Joe Burrow was better than Baker Mayfield last week. Okay,
yep.
Baker Mayfield played like fucking shit.
Yeah.
Okay, and people make all these excuses for Baker Mayfield and shit like that because he's fucking privileged as hell. But nobody wants to give any kudos to what Joe Burrow did. Joe Burrow had to earn every single thing that he's gotten in life.
Preach.
This guy was a walk-on at Ohio State, only had 2 scholarship offers. Run from his dad, who coached at University of Ohio, the Ohio Bobcats that played in the MAC conference. Then the second offer, he literally had to beg Ohio State for that second offer. Goes to Ohio State, was the bench woman for the next 3 seasons, transfers to LSU, earns the starting job, earns his team respect. Year after, he goes from a guy who was projected to be an undrafted, the 6th round selection, to going number 1 overall to the Cleveland Browns. He's earned everything to get in this spot right now, and he's going to take from Baker Mayfield. Look, Baker Mayfield, you want to know why Baker Mayfield was fucking terrible last year? Because he fucking felt like he was the man. He had his chest poked out high because he had a great rookie season, right? Nobody could tell Baker Mayfield anything. He went to a locker room, felt like the man. And what happened to Baker Mayfield last year? He fell flat on his ass because he got humbled.
Yeah.
A lot of people came for Baker Mayfield. Baker Mayfield can't handle adversity. And this game right now, we're going to see my guy Joe go in the spotlight and win his first game as a Cincinnati Bengal, playing his first home game as a Bengal. He's going to win this one. This one is special. The Browns are out of sorts right now. They're dysfunctional right now. Let's not forget, everybody wants to trash the Bengals, but when's the last time the Browns made it to the playoffs? 2002. Do you know where I was in 2002? I was in my mama's womb. I wasn't even out the born. So, I mean, the Bengals are going to win this game. The Browns suck. They're out of sorts. They're dysfunctional. Catch the fancies calling out Baker Mayfield. Everything points to Cincinnati. Cincinnati's playing as a team. They're, one team, one goal. Meanwhile, you got Odell Beckham talking about how he likes girls shitting on him.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, this goes back to even Johnny Manziel. Money Manziel came in with this arrogance. These guys, I mean, spoon-fed. I don't like this, man. I like the hungry guys, and I think the Bengals are going to give them a go. And actually, Burrow did look pretty good, to start it off, right? So they should have won that game, actually, minus the kicker. What's his name? Bullock or whatever? He looked like he pulled a hammy or whatever. Anyway, we got to give...
I'll say
go ahead, Zach.
That's going to be overlooked for this game. It's going to be in the trenches. The Bengals' defensive line is banged up, which gives the Browns' offensive line the advantage.
No, it
and
doesn't.
The Browns also have a great defensive line, which gives them the advantage in the trenches too.
No,
the Bengals are missing their right guard. They're missing Geno Atkins and Mike Daniels.
The Bengals still have Sam Hubbard, who had 8.5 sacks last year. You still have Carl Lawson. Who else they have? You got DJ Reader, who is the best run defender in the NFL last season, coming from the Houston Texans. Like, depth on the defensive line is not an issue. And plus, Geno Atkins was injured last year. He missed a handful of games, and they still are really good at getting pressure on quarterback. So they got more than just one player. Like, they got several good players. It's also a couple of guys I'm forgetting to mention. So the Bengals have tons of depth on the defensive line. Meanwhile, the Cleveland Browns, I mean, name me one other player on the Cleveland Browns defensive line other than Myles Garrett that's actually good.
All right, we got to move on here, guys. We got to move on. Let's go. We got to go back. Thank you, guys. That was very heated. I like that. We appreciate you guys. Bengals, Browns tonight, Thursday Night Football. It gives me something to watch on Thursday. So we got to move on here. So I'm going to bring on the Seahawks here, guys. Seahawks, we got to go back to last week. Seahawks versus the Falcons. We're going to have Bro Schmo and Norb Cam come on. So, Norb, you want to start off with the Seahawks? What a game. What a game. Russell Wilson and Belichick coming out and saying the best quarterback in the NFL. What do you got to say about that?
For once in a while, Belichick was actually good to listen to in a press conference because he was right. Russell Wilson tearing it up, man. I'm hearing all this talk about Joe Burrow and all these quarterback controversies. It's nice to have a quarterback that A, is going to deliver on the field, and B, you never have to worry about him getting any trouble off the field. Russell Wilson voted number 2 by his peers last year in the offseason. Number 2, NFC Offensive Player of the Week because of that performance. 31 of 35, 4 touchdowns. He had as many touchdowns as incompletions. And he should have had more because he had a couple of drops. He should have been at least 33 for 34. He could have had almost a perfect game, but we'll settle for that. But I was just excited because they definitely let Russ cook that game. He was hitting receivers. It wasn't a perfect game, but they came out swinging, considering it was in Atlanta 10 a.m. game. But then Jamal Adams on the other side of the ball, man, we gave up a lot to get him into this onto this team, and man, he did not disappoint. Man, he was all over the place. He got a sack. He was making tackles.
He was phenomenal. He did look really, really, really good. Big impact player, huge.
He looked really good. He did not look bored out there. And I think he was trying to send a message to his former coach, Greg Williams. But yeah, he was all over the place. And I think that's going to be that's a piece that we just have not had, that kind of player in the Seahawks defense since the Legion of Boom days. And now that we got one like that, it totally changes the identity of this defense since we were so terrible on defense last year. This year, I have a totally different feeling. So yeah, it was a lot better than I thought. I thought maybe a closer game. Could have been if Atlanta didn't make some boneheaded plays, but I'm glad they did, and it made it for a nice blowout win, 38-25 Seattle. So I'm on top of the world, man. Can't wait for this game against the Patriots.
Real quickly, did Carroll say they're going to run the ball more? Is that what I'm hearing? Anything?
He did say that publicly, that they are going to try to balance things out more and give more carries to Chris Carson and the running back core. Kind of expected, given that the Patriots with their pretty good secondary, much better than Atlanta. But, there's a lot of gamesmanship going on. I know him and Belichick are going at it, trying to figure out what the other's going to do. So I think they're just trying to keep each other off balance. But I'm sure Russell will still be doing what he's doing because it's working too good right now.
All right, bro Schmo, do you want to just quickly chime in on the Falcons? What happened to the Falcons, man? So honestly, what the heck happened?
I'm going to talk about what I liked first. The offense looked good. It was explosive, a few plays here and there. But you know what? Matty Ice, he looked good. On defense, the safeties, the coverage, phenomenal. The corners, you know what? AJ Terrell, he's a rookie. They'll come along eventually. I liked the Deion Jones and Oluokun. They looked really good at linebacker. But yeah, no, coverage really killed us with our corners. I mean, Isaiah Oliver's trash. AJ Terrell, rookie. It's going to be a learning curve for him. And Dante Fowler, man, he needs to play like he's getting paid big money because he only had a pass rush win rate of 10%, 3 pressures. You getting paid, you need to get that up. That should have been 6. But hey, I'm glad they were able to stay close for the first half.
I don't understand Matt Ryan. It's like he's not awake for the first half of any game, and then he just shows up at the end of I don't understand. He always does this, man. Hopefully he plays a full game, and then maybe the Falcons will start winning.
Well, luckily they got Dallas this week, and they look like the same team they were last year. They can only beat teams that are above or below 500. So,
all right, let's get
Matt Ryan was my fantasy quarterback, so he did everything perfect for me. He threw
yeah.
lots of yards and he lost the game. It was a win-win. I was so excited, man. It was awesome.
That's a perfect
Thank you, Matt Ryan. Love
that's why I told you to draft him. He's solid every week in, week out. Although he does have a tough matchup this week, should be interesting. All right, we got to move on here. We really do. We got to move on to, let's go to Jets and Bills. We got our Jets guy on. Our Bills guy's not here today. So what up, Ian? What happened in the matchup? What's going on, Le'Veon Bell? What is going on with the Jets?
What's up, Joe? How are you doing, man?
I'm doing great. I don't know about the Jets, though.
Yeah, man. I hope you can see me. I hope you can hear me.
Yeah,
okay.
we got you. Thank you.
Actually driving right now. But no, I mean, the Jets got absolutely humiliated against Buffalo. They got their ass kicked. 3 and outs. The New York Jets offense literally started that game 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 consecutive 3 and outs. Darnold threw an interception, which was just god awful. Literally, what could have went wrong did go wrong for the New York Jets. They looked bad. I mean, it was almost unwatchable. So I'll leave it there. The Jets just got freaking. It was bad. I don't even really have words for it, to be honest with
So
you.
expectations this week. I mean, Bell's out. I mean, Crowder, isn't he banged up? He was a leading target guy last week. He had like 13 targets. Is he banged up as well? What is the story with you guys this week?
Right. So I actually just did a collab video with my buddy Nick, Nothing But Niners. He actually provided a lot of insight on, like, you know, the Niners offensive line. They're having a little bit of trouble on there. A couple new guys on the offensive line dealing with some injuries. And then obviously George Kittle's banged up, Deebo Samuel's banged up, and now Richard Sherman got put on IR as well. So even though that the Jets are kind of, you know, down a man or two, because like you said, Bell's going to be gone along with Denzel Mims, San Francisco is going to be a couple guys short too. So there is an opportunity for this New York Jets team to keep being competitive. I don't know if they have the final, you know, end up winning the game, but being realistic here, if Garoppolo, if they can knock Jimmy Garoppolo down and really just provide pressure up like the A gap, really just smashing the middle, you know, the center play, the guard play with blitzes, and they can end up wrapping on defense, and then for offense, just getting the football out of Darnold's hands quickly.
Okay, cool, man. We're kind of losing you on low bandwidth there, but we appreciate you being here. Jets need a solution this week. Ian, thanks for coming on, man. We'll see you Sunday for our week 2 preview, man. I'm excited.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, you got some low bandwidth there. Thank you for being on, man. All right, we got to move on here. Let's move on. This is an interesting one. All right, it's just like two spiders in a jar. We're going to shake it up here. Here we go, guys. Let's bring on, oh my God, I'm going to plug my ears here. Here we go. We got the Vegas Raiders versus the Carolina Big Cat and Darian. What's up, guys? Oh my goodness, you guys want to...
Balls up.
Oh my!
I'm gonna let the loser go first. Well,
that would be Derek Carr and the Raiders. But real quick, man.
Apology here? Do we have an apology?
Oh, fuck no. Listen, I tell you what. I'll apologize for my head coach being a dumbass. His rookie knowledge of the game has really was on display. 10 to 12 plays out of that game, the defense lined up wrong. He failed to address it. Look, I give Josh Jacobs credit. He's a bowling ball. But listen, you're going up against a rookie front. KK's our oldest defensive tackle. Whoop-de fucking dude. You're playing cornerbacks that we got out of high school. Whoop-de fucking dude. I mean, come on now. And check it out.
What are you saying, though? I'm trying to figure out what you saying, though.
You only won by 4.
Come on, Big Cat. Listen, Big Cat. Come on, we had a rookie corner and we had a 1-year corner against these wide receivers that you talked about so well, against a DJ Moore, against a Robbie Anderson. Robbie Anderson had one big play like he did against when he was with the Jets. It's no different. It's no different. We had a rookie corner. We had a 1-year corner, and we had a 1-year, technically a rookie in Jonathan Abram, because he didn't play all last year. You might as well say that he's a rookie.
We beat ourselves. Joe Brady was hyped up coming out of LSU. He was hyped up to be this massive offensive coordinator.
To Nelson Aguilar. That gave 1-on-1 to Nelson Aguilar. Out of all receivers, Nelson Aguilar.
What's easy when you're going up against a high school corner? Yeah, anybody can score on that.
Come on.
We got a high school corner out there going up against a veteran.
I'm going to quote you what you said on your show right after the loss.
What'd I say?
There's no way you have a five receiver set and you throw screens all game.
Hey, you're right. I told you. It was coaching.
Y'all did not take advantage of the young corners that we have, but we took advantage of y'all's. We took advantage of your corners.
No. The players played great. The players played with energy. And listen, check this out. We had a guy by the name of Razul Douglas, who was traded from the Philadelphia Eagles, come in. He played 81% of the snaps off of waiver wire. He didn't even know the full playbook, and he held it down.
Zero sacks,
didn't do shit. Y'all had a solid offense. Listen, y'all had a decent offensive line. Check this out. As bad as our fucking corners were, we only gave up 1 passing touchdown. So what is you saying? What is you saying? I didn't think you were saying a goddamn thing.
We had Josh Jacobs. We didn't need to throw. We didn't need to throw. Y'all couldn't stop the run. What's the point of going away from something that your coach did? He went away from Christian McCaffrey on a 4th and inches, which was the dumbest shit I ever seen in my life. But at the same time, we kept going with our identity, and our identity was to run the football. Y'all went away from your identity. That's exactly what y'all did, and that's why y'all lost.
I can't disagree. You're preaching, my brother. Let me bow down. You're preaching. I can't defute that. I can't defute that. But if you're telling me, are you guys better than us? No. I tell you what, take that one passing touchdown by Derek Carr, take that shit to New Orleans. Let's see how that works out. Let's see how that works out against New Orleans with one passing touchdown. Let's see what happens. Let's see what happens when they take away John Jacob. Listen, the same way.
And y'all gotta listen. And y'all gotta take that. Y'all gotta take that. Throwing over the heads, throwing behind receivers, quarterback, and Teddy Bridgewater to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Good luck with that.
Listen, Chris Godwin has a concussion protocol. Mike Evans got a hamstring. Tom Brady got a dead noodle arm. Tom Brady throwing balls behind people for pick sixes. They're overrated. Don't read too much into that.
All right, we
got if they go down 0-2.
Just tell Teddy to throw to the wide receiver and not over the wide.
All right, we got to move on here, guys. Thank you, guys. And it looks like Raiders drew first blood here. Oh, man. By the way, congrats to Robbie Anderson, man. What a game. What a game for Anderson for fantasy football. Love it. All right, we got to move on here. Let's bring on the Bears and the Lions. What up, guys? Bears and Lions in the house. What's going on? What about that matchup last week? I mean, Bears took it. Mitch Trubisky. What do you got to say about that?
Dose. What I tell you, man. What did I tell you? Believe in the biscuit. Mitch Trubisky knows his job is on the line. He's going to play like this every week. He had you guys, thinking you win the game, and then the fourth quarter happens, and you get not one, not two, but 3 touchdowns. So, I mean, listen, I predicted the Bears score exactly right. I said 27 points for the Bears. The Lions, I gave them 17. You guys scored 23, so, a little bit more than I would have expected. But I'll take the W any way I can get.
Yeah. It was unfortunate. I try to forget about this game, but we have this show coming up, so I got to get back to it. We played well for 3 quarters. I mean, we dropped the game-winning touchdown. I'm not trying to make excuses or nothing, but I have a little one here, and that comes to the cornerbacks, man. When we lost our 2 top cornerbacks and we had Tony McRae stepping in there, I knew it was going to be a problem because I don't know if McRae's played that much cornerback in his career. I mean, maybe a few snaps here and there. But when he was out there, it was a mess. I mean, Trubisky went over and over and over, kept targeting him. Even when they weren't completed, the dude was burnt. Gave up 2 touchdowns. Half of his attempts were to Tony McRae. It was a mess. I'm not trying to use the excuse, but I am using it as an excuse because that really did hurt our back end, and that's what let them get back into it. So I don't know what to say. I'm honestly kind of used. You know what? I've been through so much of this. It's just like, okay.
Listen, last thing I'm going to say is this. I was so confident because I just know the one team Mitch plays well against is the Detroit Lions. For whatever reason, I can't explain it. He's done this before. So that's why I told you the Bears would win, and they did. So there we have it.
All right, let's move on here. Thanks, Eddie. I think this is going to be interesting. Packers and Lions this week. It's going to be interesting. I can't wait to watch that. But Galladay's still banged up. It's going to be an issue for you guys, Lions, this week. All right, let's move on to the Colts and Jacksonville. I'm going to handle the Colts here. Jacksonville Jaguars. Let's bring Broshmo on. Man, I can't believe it, man. I don't know what happened to Phillip Rivers. I don't know what's going on. Are you there, Broshmo?
Minshew Mania 2, baby.
What happened? I don't know. T.Y. Hilton, Paris Campbell, 9 targets each, both getting some work. I mean, we lost Marlon Mack. I mean, I don't want to say this. I don't like to push injuries, but I'm kind of glad that Taylor is going to be starting. He's better. Marlon Mack, I wasn't excited about. I mean, I'm not happy about the injury. I kind of feel bad for Mack, but I mean, he's been injured before. I didn't trust him. That's why they brought in Taylor, because they don't believe in Mack. So I'm excited about the new offense with featuring Taylor. Naheem Hines going to be utilized, I think, the same way Eckler was utilized last week. They bounced back this week, man. I understand it's a tough matchup against the Vikings. Nobody wants to go 0-2. Nobody does. So I'm excited about the Colts this week. I think they pick it up. But Jacksonville's showing that they could be for real, man. They don't even have a run game, but they pulled it out of their ass, man.
Yeah, I mean, as much love as I love to give to Gardner Minshew, I also got to heap some praise onto Phillip Rivers, man. Couldn't have done it without you. I mean, that's all I said the Jaguar defense needed to do. Hold him under 24 points.
Yeah.
And he'll explode. Like, he will literally implode on himself. And that's what ended up happening. And on offense, I would have liked the Jags to take more shots downfield. They only took one. There was only one shot downfield for like 20 plus yards. But nickel and diming it down the field, I'm cool with. They exploited mismatches. They took advantage of Xavier Rhodes. I'm happy.
All right, let's move on here. I need you to stay on, Bro Schmo. I need you to talk Eagles really quick. So let's bring on Ed Oliver, Washington football team. And this match, man, Washington beat the Eagles. Carson Wentz took a dump, literally. So, Ed, man, what is going on? Is the Washington football team for real?
Hell yeah, man. I mean, 8 sacks, Chase Young. I mean, Ryan Kerrigan, we had 8 sacks, 2 forced fumbles on Carson. I mean, we made Carson Wheelchair Wentz look really bad out there. I'm surprised he made it through the whole game, honestly. I really thought he was going to get hurt. He got sacked so many times. Chase Young was what he's advertised to be. He looks like the generational talent already. Montez Sweat, Ryan Kerrigan, the whole defensive line, the Bama boys. I mean, we just took over that game. We were down 17-0 to start off, and then after that, we just took over.
What up with Peyton Barber, though? I mean, he's getting work in the red zone. Is he going to be the goal line guy? Like, why Peyton Barber? You've got the young talent and Bryce Love, a healthy scratch. What's up with that? Can you explain the running back situation? Like, what's going on?
Yeah, so they like Gibson a lot. Peyton Barber, I'm not the biggest fan of Peyton Barber. He's okay. He's a tough runner. He made a big 4th and 1 run that sealed the deal. It was a huge run. So, I mean, I like him a little bit. And then we got Jaden McKissick. It's a running back by committee. And then Bryce Love, he might be active on Sunday. We'll see. They're still working him back a little bit from the injury. But they love Antonio Gibson. So he should have a good game this weekend.
Perfect. What do you got to say about those Eagles, Bro Schmo? Anything about them? I mean, Carson Wentz, man, most overpaid, overrated player of all time, my opinion.
Yeah, he's looking like what everyone thinks Kirk Cousins is. Mediocre. It's pretty bad. I'm afraid that Carson Wentz might be just a mediocre, this term system quarterback, maybe. But I mean, the Redskins, they led the whole league in pressures, 31. Their defense was phenomenal. Their defense won the game. Their defense is going to win 3 or 4 more games for them. It wasn't necessarily the offense that won them the game, but Eagles do need a rebound. They need to find an identity. They need to find a receiver because Greg Ward, he led the way with like 8 targets at receiver. I'm not talking about tight ends, Ertz and Goddard. They're awesome. But yeah, I expected more from Rager and from Jackson. Miles Sanders being back will help a ton. But yeah, man, the Eagles really needed a cigarette after that game. It was pretty bad.
All right, let's move on here. Buccaneers and Saints. Zach's going to step in, and we got Liam to cover the Buccaneers. Man, what about this game here? Saints tearing them up. Buccaneers, are they going to be the real deal this week? Let's start off with the Bucs here. What happened with the Bucs?
Man, disappointing to say the least. It was like a continuation of last year. Inopportune penalties throughout the entire game. Ugly turnovers multiple times that gave up immediate touchdowns, and just no push in the run game. Just seemed ill prepared, and that could be like Zach was saying last week. We had no preseason, no OTAs. I just feel like it's going to take a little bit of time to gel that offense and get a little more chemistry. And now Chris Godwin's in the concussion protocol.
Yeah, that's not good.
Anything, so it's. Chris Godwin didn't practice again today, so we'll see, man. I don't know if Godwin's going to go this week.
You know what? There's only like 1 or 2 really good teams this year, as we see right off the bat. I think like the Chiefs and like everybody else, or maybe possibly the Ravens, everybody else. I think the Buccaneers could be a team, maybe the Steelers, maybe the Saints, that could separate themselves and be ultra elite. Bucs have that potential. Again, didn't look good week 1. So that's a bit of my concern. Can they separate themselves and be the Chiefs of this year? Can they be that good?
I think they can. I mean, I was actually really impressed with the Bucs defense on Sunday, especially Carlton Davis and Sean Murphy-Bunting. Totally shut down Michael Thomas, 3 catches, 17 yards. Emmanuel Sanders didn't do much. He did have the touchdown late in the game. But I was actually impressed with the defense. Devin White and Levante David were flying around the field. Didn't get much pressure, but I think that's because the Saints probably have the best offensive line in the NFL. This offense just needs to gel better, and they better hurry up and get it figured out quick, because if they play like they did on Sunday, they're not going to win a lot of games turning the ball over like that.
All right, Zach, can you give me 2 observations from this matchup and take a quick jab at the Buccaneers, please?
Well, one thing I will say is the Buccaneers kind of gave the Saints the game, costly turnovers. with the fumble there on the kick, and then Brady's interceptions there. I would say it was the big thing that because it was only a 2-score game there, right? So if those turnovers didn't happen, it could have gone either way, but they did happen. And one thing I want to say again is even though Mike Evans was injured, Marshawn Lattimore shut him out again. A great cornerback. And I like the defense for the Saints here with one of the best offensive lines and Alvin Kamara coming out of the backfield. Breeze did not look exceptional on the weekend. He played okay. He played good enough to win the game, obviously, but I didn't really see anything in the passing game that wowed me over the weekend. But I think as he needs to, he will get back into it. I think it's just one game that he looked a little off.
All right, guys, we got to move on here. This is an interesting matchup. We're going to shift gears here. Everybody, including myself, thought the 49ers were going to win this game against the Cardinals. I got to talk about this. I want to hear the feedback from both these guys. First of all, why don't we get AZ here to just kind of brag a little bit, man? Let's let it soak in. Where are you, Mike?
Oh, how sweet it is.
Let it soak in.
And in the NFC West division, guys, I am extremely stoked. I knew that this was going to happen. Maybe being a homer, I don't care. But being that the wide receiving core was as depleted as it was, not having Brandon Ayuk, not having Deebo Samuels, it was apparent. Jimmy G is scared. He was running around everywhere, and he got sacked at least 3 or 4 times within each one of our defensive linemen got a sack on Jimmy G. And there was some multiple plays that he could have done down the field, but I just think he was scared. He was seeing ghosts.
Oh, scared. Nick, hold on a sec. Nick, are you there? Nick or Mike? Who's here? Are they here? Nick? I thought Nick was in here. Where's our 49ers guy?
I'm here.
He said you're scared.
Scared my ass. Like, come on, man. Look, I told you we collabed before the game, right? And I said
we did.
The way that you guys to get to us was the center of the offensive line. That's what you took advantage of, right? Kyle Shanahan spoke later in after the game and said we went into this game not even game planning our wide receivers, and that's because we were so depleted at the receiver position, right? So, Look, this game, I told you before, this game could have went either way due to the fact of injuries that we were dealing with. Not having Deebo Samuel, not having Brandon Ayuk, who are going to be a big part of this 49ers offense this year. And then obviously you got a second-round pick in Dante Pettis who just doesn't show up, right? And you got a guy that is a 4th receiver, maybe 5th receiver in Kendrick Bourne. Then you get the injury to George Kittle. Don't really utilize him the second half. There were times we should have took that game over in the first half, and we just didn't, right? We missed a lot of execution points. But, look, kudos to the Arizona Cardinals, man. You guys, look, our defense was so stuck on trying to stop Kyler Murray that we just opened lanes up everywhere. Even our defensive linemen, defensive ends were just crushing, going straight upfield, trying to contain and keep him inside the pocket and opening holes directly up the middle, which allowed him. Quan Alexander had a really shitty game. A lot of missed tackles, 4 that I could count from, right? So Fred Warner played like an animal. He played his game. But look, all around, man, kudos to you guys. Our team played like shit. We did not come out like the team that we're going to be. And look, we took a beating, right? And that's what happens. And I'm kind of glad that it happened week 1. And I had us losing to Arizona this year. It just wasn't week 1. It was later in the year. But you guys got that win right there, and it's gonna light a fire under our ass, especially when we get healthy.
Well, you're gonna be 1-1 by the end of this week, there, Nick.
We'll be 4-1.
All right. Anything else, AZ? Appreciate it, Nick. AZ, any last words to that to rebuttal?
I mean, other than that, I mean, I definitely understand the whole Kittle thing. It seemed like when he got hurt with the Buda Baker, tackle, I definitely saw that he did come back in, but it seemed like they were just using him more as a blocker at that point. But you could definitely tell that Kittle wasn't the same when he came back. So I definitely understand that aspect, but I got to gloat. You know what I mean? Arizona Cardinals are 1-0. You can't say that very often, so I'm going to gloat.
All right, we got to move on here. Our Ravens guy and Texans are not here, and neither are Bills and who else is not here? I'm looking at week 2 here. We got to continue here. All right, so let's bring on, I'm going back to week 1. Dallas Rams guy is not here today, but let's bring on our Dallas guy, Jordan, filling in here for Elon Nation. Jordan, what's up?
What's going on, Cowboys Nation? What's up, everybody?
Let me talk for the Rams here, and I gotta tell you that was a bullshit fucking call on Gallup at the end. The fix was in. That was your win. And I'm telling you, he was hooked under. And then we had the dramatics. If you saw my Instagram, I reenacted the Ramsey. That was total bullshit. That was dramatic. You guys should have won that game. But man, what are your thoughts on that, man? There was a tough loss, and I don't get it, man. You have so many good weapons. The Lamb, you've got Gallup, you've got Zeke Elliott, who looks solid when he gets the ball in his hand. Looks like a rock and a boulder going through. What's going on here? How did this slip away?
Yeah, I think defense got off to a slow start. It took us a while to figure out what Sean McVay and the offense was doing with the quick throws, a lot of screen plays, getting the ball out their hand quickly because we do have those pass rushers with Aldon Smith and those type of guys coming off the edge, DeMarcus Lawrence. But like you said, man, that call at the end of the game, that said it all because it wasn't just the flop. Jalen Ramsey was getting cooked by Gallup.
Yeah, Gallup is good.
And he finally knew it, and he just made the referees make a call. That's just how it is. You can't let it come down to that type of situation. I feel like Mike McCarthy should have took the field goal, just tied it up at 2020, but Mike McCarthy wanted to leave his imprint on the game, being the new Mike McCarthy era, transitioning from Jason Garrett. But overall, I think the Dallas Cowboys is a solid team. I heard Bro Schmo, who's a Jags fan, had a little sneak dissing about we can't beat solid teams from a Jags fan. That's kind of cute. But like I said, I think, going into next week or this weekend against Atlanta, the Dallas Cowboys will be solid. We'll get back into the winning tradition. But yeah, it was a horrible call. Yes. What more can I say, man?
I'm going to make an argument here, and you can tell me if you agree or not. The best wide receiver on the team, I don't care what anyone says. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't watch the Cowboys or study them as much as you, but I think Gallup is the best receiver on that team. I mean, pure heart. Every time he catches the ball, you can expect 5 to 10 yards. He's got a nose for the end zone. He's good. Do you agree that can you debate
Michael
that?
Gallup is a solid wide receiver. I feel like we have at this point 3 number 1 wide receivers.
You do.
Throwing CeeDee Lamb in that mix. I feel like the biggest loss versus the scoreboard last Sunday was actually the injuries, losing Blake Jarwin and also Van Der Esch. That's going to be costly for the season, being out for the season. So how will we bounce back from that? That's the big question mark in Dallas. But overall, a lot of fans are still excited about this team. We still have big plans to get through this season and win the division.
I'm excited to watch, man. And you're playing Matt Ryan. I'm thinking of sitting Matt Ryan in fantasy for this week, but he's going to perform 450 yards last week. Look out, man. Hopefully you guys are up for a lot of yardage and protecting against Julio Jones. So it should be interesting.
I call a big game from Dak Prescott on Sunday.
Yeah, he's got a good matchup. I see it too. So thanks a lot, Jordan. We appreciate you coming on. We got to shift gears here back to week 1 and this matchup. Let's go. Kid Blue and the Steelers. What's going on? Steelers, all this talk, all this hype, man. What happened to you? Who do we start with here? Why don't we start with Chiseled here? Why don't you brag and gloat and let him hear it?
No, I think I should let Kid Blue go because everything that I initially had said would happen. So why don't you go and explain what happened to your Giants?
All right, so let's talk about this real quick. Okay, first off, I do want to say, hey, our defensive line did put something on your offensive line. Okay, so let's not debate that. But as far as Saquon goes and the offensive line, listen, this offensive line is young. I said it even in the preview. It's young. It's 3 new starters on the team. We've got somebody from tackle and guard who played tackle and guard now playing center for us, and he got killed by Tyson Alualu, right? And to be honest, I don't think it's on Saquon. I think it's mostly on the offensive line. Looking back at it, as soon as Saquon touched the ball, I mean, he had 3 Steelers in the backfield. So that's pretty much what happened there. As far as how Daniel Jones played, I thought he played pretty well. It's just that everyone around him didn't. Darius Slayton went off. But props. I'll give respect to where it's due. Okay, props to them Steelers. Big Ben didn't look like
Grandpa. He didn't look like Grandpa
glass out there.
Yeah,
he didn't look like a hunk of broken glass out there. But yeah, he looked all right. But yeah, props to the Steelers defense. They look pretty good.
How about Dupree though? Can you give us the thoughts on Dupree? Oh my goodness.
Yes, Dupree was an absolute
insane.
Animal. And hey, I will say, Andrew Thomas, our rookie left tackle, was probably the only bright but on that offensive line, only allowed 3 hurries. Not even a sack, only 3 hurries to Bud Dupree. So props to Andrew Thomas there, but Bud Dupree in the run game did.
We got a comment here. Brandon Flores here on YouTube is saying Daniel Jones almost died. Is this true?
Oh, yes, he did. Oh, he was running for his life. If you really go back and you look at that game, there was about, I'd say, 5 different instances where he was about a split second away from getting tattooed. TJ Watt should have ended the day with not only another INT, he probably could have left with a fumble recovery. He could have left with 2 strip sacks as well. He probably could have had a career day alone. But luckily, Daniel Jones was able to get rid of the football. Now, we happen to have, Clamps Hayward. And TJ Watt showcased his clamps as well because of the 2 INTs that Danny Dimes had threw. It was to our rushers. You had 1 down lineman, first team All-Pro, then you had the highest graded edge rusher in TJ Watt. Our secondary didn't really need to do too much. As you said, Darius Slayton did go off. He had 2 touchdowns. You can't deny that. But everybody else, they did not show up to work. And Pittsburgh, you had an injury to James Conner. Benny Snell walked right into the role, went over 100 yards. Juju came in, 2 touchdowns. People were wondering what was going to be the production. He showed you all I needed was my quarterback, and I could be back at the top of the league. So I'm excited to see what things are looking like moving forward. And Big Ben started the game extremely slow.
Shaky.
I mean, in the first half, he had about, 6, maybe 7 incompletions, and then he corrected that in the second half and then only closed with 4. Pittsburgh's offense, if they can play the way that they did, where they're firing on all cylinders, this is going to be a team that's slided to make a deep playoff push. Everybody's talking about in the AFC North, Baltimore, they got it locked down and everything. I'm not saying throw Pittsburgh in the mix to say they're going to win it, but you might want to check who's in the rearview mirror if I was Baltimore.
Absolutely. All right, we got to move on here. Let's talk about the late game that was on this week. Titans versus Broncos. I stayed up for this. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Chisel. Thank you, Kid Blue. We got to move on for time. Titans and Broncos, man. Let's dive in here. Joseph and Mark. Mark, do you want to come in here and brag? How good of it wasn't the prettiest game, but it was, wow, you pulled it out.
You can't brag about that game when you missed 4 kicks.
Your kicker.
You know what? I'll give the Broncos some credit here. They were undermanned with some injuries. We were too, and then our starting linebacker decided to throw a punch and he was out. But I think how that game went, it was definitely a preseason game. It was a warm-up for both teams. We're just lucky that we walked out of there with a win. But again, national media, what do they talk about? They talk about the 4 kicks, maybe a little bit. They're more worried about the timeouts. The Broncos didn't take it again, and that's just the respect we always get. So, good game, Mr. Russ. But I'll let you have the floor, man.
Yeah, so I appreciate that, but see, I'm not really too worried about the Broncos. I'm disappointed with their loss, but I'm not worried about it just because, like you said, we were undermanned. There were a few questionable calls where Alexander Johnson got called for an unnecessary roughness when our rookie cornerback got an interception. I thought that what Alexander Johnson did was within the confines of the whistle, so therefore it was a perfectly fine play. At Vic Fangio, you mentioned it, where with the timeouts, I don't know why, but Vic Fangio decided that he didn't need to stop the clock at 1 minute and 30 seconds left, and he decided that even though Gostkowski had already missed a total of 4 kicks that day, that he was willing to run the money and run the chance of letting him kick like a 30-yarder, which makes absolutely no sense to me. And then he doubled down on it the next day, saying that he didn't make a mistake. But then after that, the next day, he said that he went back and watched and said that the reason why he missed the timeout was because he was too preoccupied with calling the next defensive play, which I thought was pretty questionable. So I hope that kind of shapes up before the next match versus Steelers. And I think it will, but we got to remember, even though Fangio is a pretty old guy, this is only his 2nd season in the NFL as a head coach. So I still think that he's coming around on some of those things. We're going to get Cortland Sutton back next week. It looks like we'll also get our 2nd-round pick, KJ Hamler, back. So even though we had a disappointing loss to the Titans, and we were even able to hold down Derrick Henry pretty well, even though he got over 100 yards, they had to run it over 30 times. But I like the Broncos' chances going forward, even though we had a disappointing loss on Monday.
Both solid teams. All right, I forgot. Thank you very much, Joseph and Mark. Let's move on to Bosarowski and the Vikings. Packers and Vikings. Did we talk to you guys yet? I don't think we did we?
Oh, no, we did not.
Sorry I overlooked you guys.
You could skip us. You could just skip us and go into next week.
All right, I'll let you guys go at each other's throats here, man. Wow.
Man, Packers haven't lost to an NFC North division or rival in over a calendar year, and it's 3 straight against the Vikings. Aaron Rodgers completely pretty much owns that team at this point, just like he does the Dallas Cowboys. They were a lot of people were saying these young corners, they're studs, they're going to show up, and they literally did nothing. Devontae took the lunch money, like I said. If you remember on Sunday, I said he's going to have 120 and 2 touchdowns. He actually had about 160 and 2 touchdowns, so he overplayed what I thought he was going to do. But other than that, you know, the only negatives to take away from the Packers this week was Lane Taylor tore his ACL, and then Kenny Clark had the groin injury, so he's probably out for a couple weeks.
Man, what do you got to say about that?
What is there to say? I mean, if you watch the game, the Vikings had the game. I'm going to be honest with you. Vikings had the game. They stopped them 4th and goal. They're on the 1 yard line. They run it with Cook. They get to the 3, and the Vikings do what the Vikings coaching staff always did. They try to get cute, and they outthink them. Instead, just turn around and hand the ball back to Cook. He gets sacked for a safety. The one thing you could not do was give up the safety, because you knew, because it was just a dagger, because not only did you give up the 2 points, then you gave Aaron the ball back, and he did what Aaron Rodgers did. He went for the kill. And then Kirk, in his infinite wisdom, with Kubiak, throws an interception, and what happens the next, 2 plays later or 1 play later? It's a touchdown.
MVS touchdown, yep.
Right. And so that whole game turned on the 2nd and 7 from the 3 yard line. If you look at the second half, I'll be honest with you. I know they'll say the Packers were playing prevent. I don't know how you give up a 40-yard touchdown to Adam Thielen when you're playing prevent.
Yeah, Darnell Savage had a horrible angle on that.
So look, I'm looking forward to the rematch. The Viking defense is young. Zimmer defends on that defense. If Kubiak, this is about Kubiak now, and can he rise to the occasion and get this offense ready to roll this week? And the offense is going to have to score at least 30-some points a game until Hunter gets healthy and they figure out the cornerback rotation. Otherwise, it's going to be a long year, and we'll be drafting the quarterback from Clemson with the first pick.
Yeah, the Packers played that perfectly. I mean, the Vikings had the least time of possession of any team ever since it started to be recorded in 1977. So that explains it. That's how you beat the Vikings. You know, you make them try to pass against you to win. If they had the lead the whole time, and Dalvin Cook and Alexander Mattison were able to run over us, which they were doing, you guys would have won. But the problem is, from the first quarter after those 10 points, nothing until the fourth.
All right, Basarowski, question for you, fantasy question. Who's the number 2? Is it Lazard or MVS at this point?
It's Lazard. So MVS actually still only had under 50% of snaps, while Lazard had over 80%. MVS just got the good looks. I mean, when you have 3 corners that are really young and have very limited snaps, that's going to happen when they put safeties over the top on Devontae, which still cooked them, but it is still Lazard. MVS is an inconsistent player.
Yeah.
He should have had even more yards. He should have had another touchdown. He dropped 2 wide open balls.
Yeah.
He's a good third receiver, but it's going to be Alan Lazard the rest of the year.
Perfect. I love that. Love to hear that. All right, guys. Thank you for being here. We appreciate you. Appreciate everybody. A couple teams we missed. The Ambassadors are just not here tonight, so I apologize for that. But listen, Sunday morning, we're going to have everybody here. Virtual tailgate, 11 a.m., guys. Thank you for being here. Fan to Fan Network. Make sure you guys are following below. I'll put a link to our website here. Thanks for being here, guys. Make sure you follow the website, fantofannetwork.com. Follow the Ambassadors on the YouTube channel. Thanks for being here. Let's get to Thursday Night Football. And there you have it, guys.